Hey everybody, and welcome to the Liver Rescue 369 Cleanse Overview. This is by Surfing Waves of Light. I'm Brittany here, and today we're going to do an overview of day one of the cleanse. So this is the third video in the series, and hang in, and I'm going to give you in the moment up-to-date information on what you need to do for day one of the original Liver Rescue 369 cleanse. So in the previous two videos, I did a cleanse overview of the whole general 9 to 11 day cleanse, depending on how you're doing it. I did an overview of the first 3 days, and now I'm going specifically into day one. So just so you can take a look and see what the first 3 days look like, you can pause the video and just take a look and start to get familiar with these first 3 days, because this is where your head needs to be at if you are about to be or on day one. So let's look at day one a little bit more in depth. Day one, just like days 2 and 3, you're going to start this day with at least 16 ounces of lemon or lime water. Then you're going to move to 16 ounces of celery juice. And then you have your breakfast and mid-morning snack of choice. So in the original Liver Rescue 369, Medical Medium says that you can, do your lemon water and then have a breakfast. You don't actually have to do celery juice, but my recommendation, and what his later recommendation is to do this Liver Rescue morning all 3 days. So if you're going to do the Liver Rescue morning, that just means you're doing the lemon water, celery juice, and then you do the Liver Rescue smoothie. And this smoothie is very simple. It has 3 ingredients: wild blueberry, banana, and pitaya. All 3 can hang out in your freezer. It's a very easy thing to make. You buy bananas at the store that are ripe, or a lot of times they're on sale because they're too ripe. You don't want them overripe, but pretty ripe. You throw them right in the freezer as soon as you get home, and then when you want to go make a smoothie, all 3 ingredients are right there in the freezer. You can also sub out for the Liver Rescue smoothie a heavy metal detox smoothie. This is an option. That is wild blueberry, banana, orange, spirulina, barley grass, dulse, and cilantro. So a few more ingredients, a little more complicated, but if you are dealing with metals and that's a concern for you, that might be a good choice for you for breakfast on this day. You can also just go with some other things. So you could do any kind of smoothie as long as it's within the guidelines. You could do a juice and smoothie of your choice. Have a carrot, orange, ginger juice, and then have a smoothie. You could also do the raw apple banana oatmeal with blackberries, and that's in Cleanse to Heal on page 328. And you could also do a pitaya smoothie bowl, which is also in Cleanse to Heal on page 316. He also has a recipe for spaghetti squash hash browns. Remember, you're not going to use any oil in this one, and that's in Cleanse to Heal on page 332. And if you're wondering what I'm reading out of, I created a cleanse guide. This is a black and white copy about 2 years ago, or maybe a year ago. And so I have a lot of really great information in that. So if you're doing the cleanse, open up your guide and just take some notes about what you might want to do. And if you're not, then sign up for one of my cleanses or email me to get this beautiful cleanse guide that goes with these videos. So that's the morning. Lunch, again, this is the meal of your choice within the guidelines. So for lunch on days 1 through 3, sometimes I'll do the Liver Rescue salad, although you're going to be doing that on days 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 for dinner, and 4, 5, and 6 for lunch and dinner. So you might get sick of that. I like to mix it up here. You could do the kombucha squash soup. That's in the Liver Rescue book on page 392. And make sure if you're making any soups that you're not using veggie broth with natural flavors, MSG, anything like that. That's an important note to make. You can always make the Medical Medium healing broth, and that recipe is on page, in Cleanse to Heal on page 394 and in Liver Rescue on page 368. That's called the Liver Rescue broth. It's delicious. It just takes a little time to make. So those are some possibilities for lunch. You could also consider doing the butternut squash falafels with salad. That's a really good recipe. That's in Cleanse to Heal on page 416. Also, sweet potatoes and squash. That's what I like to do. And he does recommend for the first 3 days, trying to get a cup of squash in at your lunchtime. This is a new recommendation. He didn't really say why, but I'm going to mention that to you so you can decide if you want to do that. There's also a recipe called cauliflower sushi with Thai chili sauce. And that's in Liver Rescue on page 398. Now remember, some of these could be dinner recipes, so you just want to be vigilant and double check, make sure you're not adding any fat, any radical fats to these meals. But a lot of these sauces that he has, they don't have any fat in them. They're made out of oranges, garlic, things like that. All things that you're good to go in the first half of your day for day one. All right, moving on to dinner on day one. Oh, well, let's do the mid-afternoon snack. So every day you're going to have a mid-afternoon snack. And on the first 3 days, you have 2 apples with 1 to 4 dates. And on the third day, 2 apples with 2 to 4 dates. So this is always a fun thing. I call this afternoon apples. I have a whole entire section of it on it in my Cleanse to Heal guidebook in my, oh my God, my Liver Rescue Cleanse guide. Thank you. Struggling, just got out of the water surfing. But anyway, so there's a lot of different ways to do afternoon apples. You can blend them up. I like to make ice cream sometimes. I'll take a frozen banana, the 2 apples and the dates, add some cinnamon, add some vanilla. So, you know, get creative with this, or just make it simple. Eat 2 apples, eat 2 dates, do whatever makes sense for you. You can also just blend them and do a dip, like a caramel apple dipping sauce. And some of those recipes are in the book as well. All right, now we're moving on to dinner time. So for dinner, again, this is where we're going to be having about 50% of the portion of radical fats that we would normally eat. So if you normally eat a whole chicken breast, try to have half. You want to do lots of vegetables and fruits at dinner. I actually don't do too many fruits at dinner, but you want to do lots of veggies and, you know, whatever that fat is that you're craving. If you want to have some grains, you could, like at breakfast, you could have oatmeal if you want. That's one of the grains he says is okay. But if you want to up your cleanse, then you want to just stay away from grains, do some asparagus, some broccoli. And again, he wants, in his updated version of the cleanse, he says steam everything. I've done this cleanse many times baking. I still felt excellent results. So it's up to you how you want to go about that. For me, for dinner, I really like to have some animal protein because I do eat animal protein, and that helps me to kind of phase out of it, as sometimes I'll even eat animal protein for lunch in my normal life. So some recipe ideas for dinner on days 1 to 3. You could do the yellow curry noodles 2 ways. If you're eating that for lunch, which you could do as lunch, just make sure you do it without the coconut milk. You could also do lentil tacos. That's in Liver Rescue on page 396. The yellow curry noodles 2 ways. That's in Liver Rescue on page 386. The kombucha squash soup. There's another one called roasted veggie pasta. This is with pasta that is made out of, not out of gluten. And that's in Liver Rescue on page 404. And then also on dinner for days 1 through 3, while you can use his recipes and they are great, this is also an opportunity for you to use your creativity or eat the things that you're used to eating, because after day 3, there's not much room for creativity. So I always recommend do your creativity on those days. And then I'll just mention some of the apple recipes that are in the book. So Liver Rescue applesauce, I also do that one. That's kind of like the blended apples. That's in Liver Rescue on page 410, or Cleanse to Heal page 312. And apple cinnamon smoothie, that's in Cleanse to Heal on page 308. And then the caramel apple soft serve, love that one. That's Cleanse to Heal page 326. Or raw mini apple pie tarts, and that's Cleanse to Heal page 336. So that is basically what your day 1 is going to look like. Remember, days 2 and 3 are very similar, just to give you a heads up for what's coming, or if you're going shopping, you're going to be starting your day the same way. You know, sometimes it's easier to keep it simple. The only difference with days 2 and 3 is on day 2, you're going to have 1 apple after breakfast, and on day 3, you're going to have 2 apples after breakfast. Lunch will be the same. And then in the mid-afternoon, again, same as day 1, day 2, 2 apples with 1 to 4 dates. And then on day 3, you're going to do 2 apples with 2 to 4 dates. Up to you. Dinner, again, the same. Day 3 is kind of like the first Last Supper. I also have in my mind, a Last Supper on day 7. We'll talk about that. And then remember, at the end of the day, and I always forget to talk about this, you're going to have an apple if you want, a big glass of water, that's 16 to 24 to 32 ounce lemon or lime water, whatever works for you. And then a nice cup of hibiscus or lemon balm tea. And you are welcome to put a teaspoon of honey in that. You are also welcome to put a teaspoon of honey in your morning lemon water. So if that's something that resonates with you, feel free to do it. Don't forget to get that squash in at lunch. That's one of his recommendations. And I put all the foods on the side that you could eat on these days, so you can keep an eye on the pictures. I made them very accurate. And again, just a reminder that make sure that you have a physician or doctor who is overseeing your care, especially if you're dealing with any kind of health issue. You want to make sure that when you're changing the way you eat, you're doing it in a safe way. And this cleanse isn't for everyone. So make sure that you are doing what is right for you and adapting the cleanse to fit your lifestyle, your needs, and be gentle on yourself. That's one recommendation I make, and I definitely felt that energy from reading the medical medium books. All right, so if you want to find me, I'm Brittany Histing, and you can find me at www.surfingwavesoflight.com, and you can see some of my Instagram handles, starting a YouTube called Medical Medium RN. You might be seeing this video on there. Our next video is going to be overview of day 2. So I'll do very similar as I did today, going into what your day might look like. The first 3 days are a lot more complicated because there's a lot of options. But once we get to days 4 through 6, those videos, I'll be cruising through them because there's not much to say. You're going to be steaming asparagus, Brussels sprouts, and making a liver rescue salad and the liver rescue morning, and it's kind of nice because it gets easier. Just want to mention that part of what I do in my business, Surfing Waves of Light, is the medical medium protocols and cleanses. I coach people through those, as well as forgiveness work, working on your mind. This is a level that I recommend all people work on. You can't just heal in one realm. You have to heal in the mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. And forgiveness work, A Course in Miracles, Spot It, these things all work at the level of the mind, on the mental and emotional, and are huge and can even help get through something like a cleanse. Healing Touches is an energy healing therapy that was started by nurses, and it's accredited by the American Nurses Credentialing Center. I love doing Healing Touch sessions, and it is a great way to have self-care during a cleanse because you're not maybe getting that love you normally get from the food you eat, but you can get it in a different way. I also channel. I bring through the Arcturian Council and Saint Germain right now. I love them so much, and the messages are just pure love, really beautiful, gentle, and it's nice to hear and nice to listen to. And I also do surf lessons, which is what I came from today. It's why I'm wet and my cheeks are all red because it is January 1st and I surf for a while. So I love you all. If you got to the end of this video, thanks for watching. And if you're doing this cleanse, keep up the good work. The first day is the hardest, but you'll get in the rhythm and you'll be feeling good soon. So if you're not already, love and light. Talk to y'all later. Bye.